Yeah, a central bank digital currency is not a new currency. So a central bank digital dollar is a dollar. A central bank digital euro is a euro, yen, so forth. So it's not a new currency. It's a new ledger and it's a new payment channel. That's what's changed. And it's not a cryptocurrency. This is not blockchain. The ledger, they're still working it out whether the ledger is maintained by the Treasury or the Fed. The Fed could be fiscal agent for the Treasury. Yeah, those are important details, but they're still working those things out. But basically, it's a ledger-based system, 100% digital, encrypted message traffic, and it's a dollar. So what's not to like? And so the pitch for central bank digital currency, I'll refer to the dollar, but it's the same thing around the world. The pitch is, hey, I'm in an airport. I want to buy a candy bar. And I go up and I buy the candy bar and I pay for it with a credit card. And what is the retailer? How does he or she get paid? Well, they take my receivable, right? And they sell them to somebody called a merchant acquirer. Merchant acquirers go out and they just scoop up, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of credit card receivables, and they pay the merchant. So I get the candy bar, they got paid by the merchant acquirer. What does the merchant acquirer do? They deliver them to MasterCard or Visa, and MasterCard or Visa pays them. I go, okay, I got them, take a spread. What does MasterCard do? They ship them out to all the banks who issue the MasterCards, and the banks pay them. And what does my bank do? Sends me a bill and I pay the bank. Okay, so it's all good, but we got five parties to buy a candy bar. We got me, the retailer, the merchant acquirer, MasterCard, and the issuing bank. Five counterparties, five different exchanges of value, spreads all along the way. It's clunky, expensive, et cetera. And the Fed says, hey, with a central bank digital currency, Jim will have an account at the Fed, probably my bank, but same thing, a little QR code, boom, and the payment goes directly from A to B. It's like Venmo, right, with a few more zeros. So it's better, faster, cheaper. The Fed's not going to disintermediate the banks because they exist to prop up the banks, but it will be better, faster, cheaper. I think that's conclusive. Now, something else has to happen at the same time. You got to get rid of cash. Because if people don't like central bank digital currencies, and I'll give you 20 reasons not to like them in a minute, but if that's your view, you just say, I'll pay cash. I'll hand the person, $5 bill, give me some change. Getting rid of cash and pushing out the central bank digital currency go hand in hand. So I always say, if you want to slaughter pigs, you got to get the pigs in a chute and line them up and get them into the slaughterhouse. So you can't let them run around because they'll run away. If you want to slaughter sabers, you got to get them into this digital chute and into the digital slaughterhouse, but they're working on that. So now, where are we? We're in a world where there is no more cash. Maybe you have a credit card, but all the payment channels are through the central bank digital currency. What's the difference? The difference is the Fed or Treasury, again, probably the FBI, they can see what you're doing. Now, the other thing is the digital currency, the CBDC, is programmable. So what comes next? Okay, we're all in the CBDC dollar world, right? They say, oh, well, you know what? You've been buying a little too much gasoline, Jim. Looks like you've been driving up and down the East Coast. We're not going to let your CBDC card work at a gas pump for the next 10 days because you're using up too much gas. Oh, your heating bill's a little high. Oh, you need to turn the thermostat down. In other words, they can control how you spend your money, what you spend it on. It's a totalitarian system, but it's what governments like. By letting you or not letting you use it. Now, stimulus, Larry Summers, bring him into the act. Okay, Jim, you just got, $10,000 in your bank account, whatever. We're going to deduct 1% a month until it's all gone. So you better spend it, or maybe we'll deduct 5% a month. It's like a prepaid debit card or these gift cards. People buy gift cards on Amazon. They have expiration dates. A Metro card in the New York subway has an expiration date. If you buy a $50 Metro card and you don't use it up, it goes away. Well, this will happen to your bank account. So between total surveillance, forced stimulus, because if you don't spend it, we'll take it away. Negative negative interest rates, same thing, kind of. Tax payments. Well, what happens if you have like a regular job and how do you pay your taxes? Well, your employer withholds it. They send it in on a Form 941. At the end of the year, you get a W-2 and says you made this much, we took out this much. You file your tax return, attach your W-2, and you reconcile with the IRS. That is not true for lawyers, doctors, accountants, consultants, professionals, And it's not true for a lot of people. It's not true for people with LLCs who have their own businesses. They don't have withholding. They got to pay their taxes. I'm not saying don't pay your taxes. I'm just saying that the government could decide, hey, lawyer Jim or Dr. Joe, whatever, we're gonna basically apply W-2 style holding to your bank account. We're just going to withhold 20% of every income. And, do your taxes. We'll send you the equivalent of a W-2. Do your taxes, reconcile. It's all good. But we're going to take it out of your bank account. We're not going to rely on you to pay your own taxes. It's like, we're just going to take 20% out of your account every month because, you should be in a 40% bracket. You got some deductions, whatever. This is actually thought control. And you say, well, don't they have it already? The answer is no, because MasterCard might know what I'm buying, but the government doesn't know. They got to subpoena MasterCard. They have to have a clause. It's Fourth Amendment. You got to go to a judge. You got to say, well, this guy's a terrorist or whatever, but they're calling everybody terrorist. So you have thought control, totalitarian means of basically suppressing dissent, arresting people you don't like, forced withholding taxes, forced tax assessments, negative interest rates, stimulus in the form of, if you don't spend it, we're going to take it away. Governments love this stuff. And so you say, well, I don't like any of that. I'm just going to go to cash, which is easier said than done. People say, I'm going to go to cash. Say, try going to your bank and withdrawing $100,000 of cash. Let me know how it works out. Right. I know what they'll do. They'll say, come back next week, make an appointment, bring your birth certificate and your social security card and 5 forms of photo ID and your passport. And you can do it, but they'll file a currency transaction report, or CTR, with the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, FinCEN. By the way, notice the word Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. You didn't do anything wrong. It's your money, but you're going to go into a file right next to Osama bin Laden. I've been there. I used to do intelligence work with the government. I've been to FinCEN. I know how it all works. And that's if you want your cash, but they'll get rid of cash and you'll be forced into this digital slaughterhouse. And you say, well, then what can I do? And by the way, the American people, and maybe people around the world, but I'll speak of America, are extremely adaptive and extremely inventive when it comes up to new forms of money. If they really don't like the money that's out there, they will come up with new forms of money. I remember in the late 50s growing up, like 9, 10-year-old kid, there's always some, great uncle or distant cousin who was, adult, would say, hey, kid, don't take any wooden nickels. What's a wooden nickel? But in the 1930s, they had wooden nickels. It was real. The Fed screwed up. There was not enough money. We were in the middle of the Great Depression, and towns and communities would get someone to make wood discs, little wood circles, and they would stamp it with, $5 or probably 5 cents in those days, a wooden nickel. But as long as people are willing to accept it, it's money good. If nobody wants it, that's different. But if like, hey, we're going to make up our own money supply because the government is letting us down, and they did, and wooden nickels were real. But back then you could buy a nice meal for 5 cents. What do people do today? Silver and gold. The silver dollar worth, I guess, say about $30, or the 8-gram gold coin worth about $500 at the market. That'll be spending money, and other people will take it. There's the U.S. civilian population can kind of go underground and get out of the digital slaughterhouse and get out of the totalitarian thought control with gold and silver coins of a certain denomination.